United, I saw something after the game that United have won their last 3 ties where they've drawn the actual away leg 0-0. But I had really bad experiences when I was playing here when we drew away 0-0 in the first game, thinking it was a good result. Lulled into thinking that you only need to go and win at home, but then that away goal goes in. I remember Dortmund and Monaco, 96, 97, 8, where we drew away 0-0, came back to Old Trafford, and both teams scored in the first 20 minutes. And that feeling of, we need to score 2. And then you're under pressure, then you're chasing the game, you don't know whether to sort of... You can sometimes come back, don't get me wrong, you can go and score a goal and then score again, but the other team then know they're 1 goal away from making you score 3, so you're always worried about over-committing so that then you go and leave the back door. I never liked it, 0-0. Never liked it because of bad experiences, like saying in the late 90s. But United in the last 3 times they've done it have had good results by it, and I think that if you said that Manchester United to beat Sevilla at home to get into the quarter-final of the European Cup, you'd take it.
Yeah, got some really interesting comments coming through. A little joker here already asking whether Jose Mourinho's driving that bus in the background. I think it's actually a crane putting up the YouTube channel sign, but interesting one to start with. A bit more sensible one from Matt Hackney. What's the favourite moment in your football career?
Favourite moment, 99 treble, definitely, in terms of football achievements. My debut for United was huge for me because it's all I've ever dreamed of. Winning the Youth Cup in 92, I think, is a big moment because it gave us the confidence as a group to think we could win in that first year out of obviously school at 16, 17. That was a big moment. Yeah, they're the 3 big moments. Debut, for a personal point of view, I think the impact upon ourselves was winning the Youth Cup in 92, but then the treble last minute in Barcelona, obviously culminated in that unbelievable 10 days was, yeah, definitely the biggest achievement.
Yeah, that covers what Declan said, fondest memory in the Champions League besides winning the 99 win. Plenty of others coming in here. Dave Ashurst says, do you think United are missing a captain on the field? I don't see a leader in the ilk of Kane or Robson. I guess there's not too many leaders out there right now.
Has any other team got one of them?
That's the question, isn't it?
Football's different. We're always sort of longing for what used to be, where's the Roy Keane, or where's the Brian Robson, or where's this player, or where's that player. Football's very different now, and we have to start looking at it differently. Players are a lot more fluid. Teams are different, fitness is different. I think that players stay at clubs less time, managers stay at clubs less time. So we have to start probably judging it differently in the sense that, we want this captain who's going to be at the club for 15 years and drive through midfield. It isn't going to happen anymore. I genuinely think that it's like the question of, when's there going to be another class of 92, or when's there going to be another Sir Alex Ferguson that's a manager of 25 years. It's not going to happen, I don't think, because the way in which football is now, results have to be immediate, and players, to be fair, yeah, you might get the odd case where a player will stay around for 5-10 years at a club, but very difficult to do that. So I think we have to start looking at it differently rather than thinking when's the next Roy Keane or Brian Robson going to come. I think it'd be very difficult to find one.
Tony Pye says, this is kind of sparking a bit of a rounded debate, is Pogba being played out of position? Obviously there's been a lot of talk about where Pogba should and shouldn't be playing, what a box-to-box midfielder is. Even what have you kind of made of the whole kind of scenario that's kind of played out over the last few weeks?
I always think he's better when he's free and roaming, when he isn't disciplined. I mean, he isn't disciplined, full stop. He just goes where he wants. So the idea that actually he should be expected to play in that way. I always remember when Juan Sebastian Veron came to Manchester United, and obviously the midfield that we had at the time was Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, David Beckham and Ryan Giggs. And it was very... Whilst they were free and they had obviously individual skill, there was a structure to it. You know exactly what each one did. If Roy went forward, Scholes would sit. If Scholes went forward, Roy would sit. If David tucked in, Ryan would be out wide, and they'd switched it to each other. And if Paul got the ball in midfield, he'd switch it to the right wing because Bex would know he'd be there. And there was that connection. When Juan Sebastian Veron came, it changed the way in the way in which that midfield developed. Because when Sebastian Veron would run across people, so if say Roy Keane was the right side of the two in midfield, he'd go and get the ball from the right back. Paul Scholes wouldn't just go and run past him and go and get the ball from me. Whereas when Veron came, he just didn't have that discipline. His view was he just went and got the ball, and it meant that we ended up sometimes out of shape. And Pogba reminds me very much of Veron in the sense of how he sees the game and how he plays the game. Manchester United knew what they were getting when they signed him. They knew they weren't getting a structured central midfield player who worked up like that or went and got the ball in. He always has done that. He's done that since he was 16, 17, Paul Pogba. So my view is that you have to play that. You have to pick him to his strengths. And if you play him in a two in midfield, you have to accept that he's going to empty midfield. He's going to vacate midfield. He's going to leave spaces. He's going to sometimes not be where you want him to be. And then reap the rewards of that, but then suffer the consequences of it. My view is probably that I think he is better in a 3 or on the left of a 4, because then you can just allow him to basically be free and do what he wants. And actually, to be fair, Veron at times I'd end up playing in a 3 in midfield or end up playing to the left or the right, where he actually couldn't, if you like, we didn't have to suffer the consequences of him basically vacating his position. So my view is that United knew what they were getting when they signed him. The Jose Mourinho knew what they were getting when they signed him, and ultimately, you have to pick him to his strengths, which is, if you want him to be disciplined, it probably isn't going to happen. Yeah,
I'm playing a chat about Manchester United. Obviously, Salford, another big game. Title race is well and truly back into focus. Blair Smart wants to know, are you going to the game tomorrow? He's travelling down from Scotland. Nice trip.
Yeah, I'm going to the game tomorrow. I've got to go to London after because I'm doing the League Cup final on Sunday. But I'm going to the game. We're in a difficult patch at the moment. The last couple of months, we've obviously seen a big lead fall away, but hopefully, Tamworth at home tomorrow, we aren't in the best run of form. North Ferriby next Saturday, we're having a difficult season. We can get confidence back in these next 2 weeks ahead of games against Blyth and Spennymoor. I mean, obviously, it's easy just to talk like that, but that's, as I sit here today, how I want it to be. I want us to get 2 good wins under our belt and build some confidence so we can go into those 2 big games against Blyth and Spennymoor and hopefully do well.
Yeah, don't forget to stay tuned for a chance to win those tickets to the Carabao Cup final on Sunday. A few other interesting ones coming through.
What do they have to do, by the way, to win these 2 tickets?
That will be revealed at the end of the show. Stay tuned. Obviously, plenty of other reasons to stay tuned. So some less than sensible questions. Who's got a better left foot out of you and Phil? That's
Phil.
Simple one. We've got that one down. Does Rushford need more playing time from David Shannon? Is that a concern for you, Rushford's situation at the moment since Sanchez has come in?
No, I think he's had a lot of playing time this season. I think if you look at his minutes on the pitch have been high. I think he took part in nearly all the games up until a few weeks ago. When you're a young player coming into the team, my view is that ultimately you're not going to just all of a sudden play every single game for the rest of your career. I mean, that's an exception. Ryan Giggs did that. But when I came into the squad, or David Beckham came into the team, or John O'Shea, or Wes Brown, there were periods where you're in for 10, 15 matches, you're in a great run of form, and then you dip a little bit, and then you come out of the team, then you go back in, and you have that rest, and you look at the game from the touchline, and you come on as a sub, and you experience the different things. So from my point of view, it's not unusual for any forward that's a young forward or winger to be in and out of the team. It's absolutely usual. And it's something that I would have expected. If I thought that he was not in the manager's plans, or that he wasn't being used at all, or wasn't in the frame, or wasn't in favour, I'd be worried then. But I think Jose Mourinho's proven that he likes Marcus Rashford. But just at the moment, with Sanchez signing and with Martial doing quite well in the last few weeks, that he just falls behind those 2. My view is at the moment, the probably one that's coming under most pressure will be Lukaku at the moment in terms of his form, and that Sanchez may go up front because I'm not sure he's suited to the right, and that may allow then Marcus to come back into the team.
So you see that there's potential that Sanchez could take that central role, Rashford on the left and Lukaku dropping out, because he's obviously played a lot of minutes.
I think Lukaku's done well this season, but there comes a point whereby I think his form and Sanchez's form, if they're not performing to the best, which they're not at the moment, you'd think Sanchez would go up top. And you'd see Lukaku come out for maybe a couple of matches, not because he's a bad player, or he just come out the team, have a look at it, see the game differently, freshen yourself up, and then come back in when others have had a go.
Yeah, a lot of people asking for your predictions for this weekend. I imagine you don't want to give too much away for the game you're commentating on the Carabao Cup final, but have you got any strong feelings on any of the games you think Man United will get past Chelsea?
Chelsea's the most difficult game for United at home, always has been, and away. The record that they have is fantastic, so I can never sit here and say, Manchester United are going to win because they're at home against Chelsea, because it's been the most difficult fixture over 15, 20 years. In fact, in the Premier League, they've got the best record against United, home and away, I think. I'll
check this.
Yeah, somebody will tell me if I'm wrong anyway. So I'm never really confident against Chelsea. I always think that they're a team that come to United and do well, but I don't think United will lose on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, predictions time. Got your Super
Here
6
they are.
Predictions, carefully prepared. A lot of thought gone into these. Ruffled a few feathers of the Magpies variety.
The Newcastle fans. Are you still angry with me, Newcastle fans? Are you still upset with me over that commentary against City? Sorry.
I'm sure they've put it all behind them.
Absolutely. They beat United a couple of weeks ago. They can be happy now. They can joke with me.
And you can upset them all over again. Bournemouth, Newcastle.
I think Bournemouth are going to win 2-1. Don't know why, Newcastle fans, but I just think you're going to lose this weekend.
Yeah.
Not that I hope you lose. View is that you won't, but I think you'll lose 2-1.
Yeah, a lot of tough games to call here. Brighton, Swansea, pivotal game at the bottom.
1-1.
1-1 for that one.
Yeah.
Burnley, Southampton.
1-1.
1-1 again.
Yeah.
Another tight one at the bottom.
I just don't think there'll be a lot of goals in those two matches. I think they're so desperate. Those teams, obviously Southampton are fighting for lives. Brighton and Swansea need points. So, yeah, 1-1s.
Yeah. Liverpool, West Ham.
Unfortunately, I think they'll win 3-1.
Grudgingly.
I think West Ham. Can't see West Ham going there and doing much. Liverpool's strong at home.
Yeah. West Brom, Huddersfield.
I'm going to go West Brom 2-1. They need to win.
And Reading, Derby. Derby managed to salvage that draw midweek with Leeds, didn't they?
I've gone Derby 2-0.
Yeah, Reading struggling a bit at the bottom. Don't forget to predict your Super 6 predictions. Get them in, download the app. Chance to win £1 million up for grabs. I imagine you wouldn't mind another $1 million to throw into Salford. What would you do if you had £1 million to invest at this stage?
I wouldn't put it into players.
No.
Put too much in. $1 million to invest.
A Super 6 jackpot.
I would invest in facilities.
Yeah.
And training pitches and training grounds and academies and things like that.
Yeah. Adrian Bowles, he's not moving on. He said, I bet you didn't predict Newcastle beating United. A couple of laughing face smile. I think he's crying face smiley.
Yeah. I was crying that night on the way home.
Yeah. Claire Miller says, I'm watching the Chelsea game at Old Trafford. Come on, Chelsea. Like you say,
they can be confident.
Got a good record. Yeah. Obviously coming in a difficult place, but with a point to prove, given what's been happening with Conte. I guess maybe does that free them up a bit to come here and underdogs?
Yeah, it was a strange game last year because it was the one game that Chelsea I thought looked a little bit all over the place. Alonso, did he get injured? I mean, I was doing the commentary. I think Alonso got injured in the warm-up and dropped out. And Azpilicueta went from right centre-back to left wing-back. And I can't remember who came in at right centre-back. But it just completely sent them all over the place. They lacked balance and they weren't positive. And it was the one game last season, in a great season for Chelsea, where I felt as though they weren't confident. So if United can remember that, then obviously. But Chelsea, just the record against United is just really good and always has been for many, many years. Yeah.
Adash has third time asked this, so we need an answer. Top 4 predictions. Your top 4 in order. It's not an easy one.
City,
yep.
United, Chelsea. I think Liverpool will just get there.
Jonathan Riley wants to know who would be in your best 5-a-side team from United players all time. It's another difficult one, isn't it? They're not easy ones.
I've named this before, though.
Have you?
Yeah, I think so. It would be Kane, Ronaldo, Scholes, Giggs, Schmeichel.
Schmeichel over to here.
Yeah.
Still. And a few more interesting one. McTominay, another player that, we talk about Rushford maybe not getting the time of late, but it's kind of coincided with McTominay getting some great chances. How highly do you rate him?
That was the big thing for me the other night when I wasn't at the game. I was actually away, but when I saw the news come through that Pogba had been left out, the headline was all about Pogba being left out. But then I thought, wow, what a great chance for McTominay to come in, and not to come in, but just to play in a game like that. And actually, everything that people said Jose Mourinho wasn't, in terms of not giving young players a chance. To bring him in such a big game. I mean, that Sevilla away, Sevilla is a tough place to go for any team, and to put the kid in there in that atmosphere and to trust him, a lot more should have been made of that, particularly with United's history and tradition and what's been said about Jose not giving young players a chance. To leave out the record signing to bring in a kid that's basically come through the youth team is the ultimate, I think, in faith and trust and belief. And so to me, I actually enjoyed the fact that, not that Pogba was left out, could have been any of the players left out, but that McTominay played. Yeah.
Another one coming through. Can England win the World Cup? And the secondary question.
Yeah. I wish they would, but it's difficult.
Yeah, if Harry Kane's scoring goals like he is in the Premier League this season,
is
that key to it?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I think he's the best number 9 in the world in terms of what you call a traditional centre forward. You think of sort of Lewandowski or Lukaku, players who play up front of that type. Obviously, I'm discounting the Messis and Ronaldos and Neymars of this world who do play in those types of positions. That they're completely different animals. But he is, to me, absolutely sensational, Harry Kane. He's a brilliant player. He has had 2 difficult tournaments with England, one under 21 and one senior tournament. So I think he more than anybody, with the way in which he prepares for games, the way in which he's obviously experienced the last 2 tournaments, hopefully third time lucky for him, that he sees this tournament differently and that he's not like he was in the previous 2, where he certainly wasn't at the high standards that he set himself.
Yeah. Looking towards the World Cup, obviously the announcement a couple of weeks ago that VAR is going to be used. We had a fair bit of controversy in the Huddersfield-Manchester United game with the shots we saw back from that. Are you confident that it's ready for the World Cup to be used without many problems the sort that we saw at Huddersfield? Does it concern you that we're using it so soon?
You got to remember there have been big rule changes in the last 20, 30 years, and there's always been teething problems. Remember when the back pass rule came in when we were very young, I think at United, and it was like, wow, and people just got it wrong all the time. Keepers used to just pick it up and you think, oh, this will never work, you'll never get used to it. But now you never think of the back pass rule being a new rule, and I think we'll think the same of this. You think of introductions into tennis and rugby, into cricket with technology, and actually it's got better and better and better. I think what they have to do is involve the crowd more. I've seen today that they're going to communicate with the crowd on Sunday that that they obviously that it's being looked at by the video referee. So I think that's an improvement. It's just about communication with the fans, making sure that everybody knows and making sure it's as efficient and as quick as possible. But the most important thing is that the accuracy of decisions is improved and help to the referees, because the game's getting quicker and quicker. We've got 35 cameras at every single match with Sky, and there isn't anything we miss. So we now look at, say, for instance, offside decision that might be like 6 inches, and we'll hear language like, oh, what a bad decision from the linesman. I mean, 6 inches, when you're looking at something from 40 yards away, when you're looking at a ball being kicked from basically 40 yards that way, and you're having to get it right there, and we're judging things on 6 metres with the speed that the players run, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, me and Carragher did the referees day last year where we actually did the referees linesman testing. I think he got 3 out of 5 and I got, I think, 3 out of 5, and that was just simple ones that we were just like looking at the ball there, and I know they're professional, I know they have to get the majority of them right, and they do, but I think if we can add some certainty through some technology, I don't think it hampers the game.
Yeah, here's one which won't be your answer there. Gary Mortis says, if you weren't a footballer, what would you have done for a career?
Just
not
talk.
be a referee.
Just talk, yeah. Be something talking. Now, hopefully something in sport, because obviously my family have all been, I don't know, sports people. My sister, obviously, my brother, are both coaching now with England in various roles. I've always been involved in sport. Family have always played sport. My mum's still playing sport now, netball and rounders. So I think hopefully something in sport, but I don't know what.
Yeah, we'll keep your questions in. I think we'll wrap it up shortly and finally give away that prize for the Super 6. I think we've got a few more final ones. Right, here is a difficult one. Okay.
Is it?
Well, we'll see how you take it. After having the experience of managing Valencia and being a coach for England, Did that change your approach when working for Sky in your role to giving, in quotation marks, constructive criticism?
No. I think, to be fair, so if people mention that to me, oh, how does he go on television, on social media in particular, how do you go on television when you failed at Valencia? I played 600 games for Manchester United and probably 200 games for the reserves, played football since the age of 6. I think I'm qualified to speak on football. Whether I, to be fair, coach a team well or not coach a team well, or get good results or not good results. I mean, if I go to Valencia and lose 10 league matches out of whatever it was, 15, does that mean to say I can no longer have an opinion on football? What I would say is that I understand more the difficulties of making decisions from a coaching point of view in game. I can understand now where sometimes when you're looking at a game and you're commentating, you'll say, "Oh, I think the manager should make a change now." But on the touchline, when you're looking at eye level and you're watching a game like you do, you can't see it anywhere near as unemotionally as you do when you're on the touchline. So I'd have far more appreciation of timing of substitutions, and people say, "Oh, he got that substitution wrong." Well, that's easy to say when you're not on the touchline and you've not got the thought processes going through your head that you've worked on a system all week, you've worked with players all week. A player that, to be fair, on the bench that everyone's saying should come on, he might have annoyed you, or he might not be in good form, or he might have a slight injury. All these things that you have considerations around. I would say I'm more appreciative of that, but not to the point whereby I wouldn't think that I can give constructive criticism because of the fact I played 600 games. I can criticise or praise any player with authority because I played 600 games. I think when you've played that many games of football, you're entitled to understand and know the game. And I don't think let's say winning or losing a few football matches makes you a good or bad pundit. They're completely different disciplines.
And I think you got some coaching. Is it this evening? Got a bit of coaching up?
Yes.
Upstairs, we're at the hotel football.
I'm going upstairs with Scholesy doing a bit of coaching. Apparently they want some skills coaching, so I'm going to leave it to him.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your time, Gary. Thanks for your questions.